I've got to kind of disclaim my title today of my little piece, my subject. I titled it Reality Doesn't Change. That's the thing we're going to talk about today on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I am your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Sunday, the 18th of April of 2021. It is the first day of the week according to Christianity, according to what I believe. Welcome aboard today. Welcome if you're here on Rumble, on the podcast, or on YouTube. Thank you for coming along today, and hopefully you will find what I have to say interesting and worth your time. What I wanted to say is this. I want to disclaim the idea that reality doesn't change. Look, reality is not static. Things change, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm really saying is reality doesn't change based on your perception of it. If you think that you can fit your car between these two posts and you get jammed in between the two posts, your perception of reality didn't change the reality, didn't make it so that you could fit between the two posts. That's not what happened. The same thing applies to things like trials and the like, right? You look at what is happening currently. I'm sort of loath to bring current events into things, but sometimes they help to kind of illustrate what it is that you're saying in the long run. So there's currently a trial going on in which an officer has supposedly put his knee on the neck of a perpetrator, a drug abuser, and the drug abuser died of what appears to have been asphyxiation, which I'm not sure is true to begin with. I'm pretty sure you'll find that that's not the case when all the facts come out. You could argue that it was asphyxiation based on other things happening, namely that he had huge amounts of drugs in his system, and that's probably really what killed him. But the point is, you've got all of these videos floating around, and I had somebody say something to me not too long ago, and they basically said, video is the gold standard of observation because you get to see what happened. My answer is no, you really don't. What happened before that, what happened afterwards, the fact that you can look at things from different angles and see different things are actually true means that your perception doesn't change what actually in reality happened. Okay, and this is what needs to be understood. It's not that by changing your viewpoint, your perspective, your way of looking at things, you can't modify reality. It's that reality itself did not change. What has happened did not change as a result of the fact that you look at it differently than it actually was. And here's part of the problem. I used to tell people this all the time. Look, there's this simple example I like to give you. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to do this. For those of you who are listening somewhere, I just took my glasses off. That's what I did. Did my perception change? You bet my perception changed. Everything is a bunch more blurry. Putting the glasses back on, so just so you know what's going on there. Yeah, perception can be totally different from reality. When I see things with my glasses off, my depth perception is broken, so things look a different distance away than they actually are. Okay? But the perception doesn't change the reality. If I drive around without my glasses on and I manage to hit somebody in the back because my depth perception is broken, it's a sure sign that reality was reality. My perception was what was the problem. Okay? You have to understand some things about life. And one thing that you have to understand is if your perception is wrong, you're going to judge and act incorrectly, or potentially will. If you've recognized that your perception is wrong, you can fix that. But you can't assume that just because you see something or believe something or hear something or touch something even sometimes, that it is what you think it is. There's the old misperception of the elephant and the three blind men, right? And them saying what it is, and one saying it's a tree, another saying it's a snake, and the third saying it's a wall or whatever, right? I don't even remember what the three things that they came up with were, but the point is you can obviously imagine that their perception is based, in that case, on what they could feel. And I'm not talking about emotion here. I'm talking about physically tactile touching things. But emotion obviously factors into this as well. If you decide that something is a certain way and you base your decision on emotion as opposed to basing it on the facts, on reality, on what's actually going on, you're going to potentially at least be wrong in what you say. Here's the funny thing. Here's the sad thing. Because You can perceive things in a way that's not sufficiently bad to make it so that you're terribly wrong about what it is that you perceive. There's this tendency to believe what I see, what I feel, what I touch, what I smell, etc., is reality, and that I understand that I comprehend it, that I've got it in mind what's actually going on. And the thing is, a lot of the time there's some reality, there's some truth to that. If you step down on the ground, you're counting on the ground holding you up. But here's the thing. My house is, 8 feet off the ground? Because it's got a basement. What's technically a basement? It was built up off the ground. If I happen to stand on my floor and there's a rotten spot on my floor, is there a possibility I'm going to go right through that bad boy? You bet there is. Perception and reality are not necessarily the same thing. Lots of the time, that doesn't make all that much of a difference. But when lives or liberty hang in the balance, for example, it makes all the difference in the world. And when it means that you're going to do something horribly wrong that's going to affect your future for many years to come, it makes all the difference in the world. And when it means you're going to do something that's equally bad, that's going to affect somebody else potentially for the rest of their life, it makes all the difference in the world. You have to realize that your perception is not necessarily reality. Yes, reality changes. My subject, reality doesn't change. That's not entirely true. But the point is, what doesn't cause reality to change most of the time is your perception of reality. Reality is reality is reality. Whether you perceive it properly is not the point. Whether or not it is what it is. Whether or not your eyes, your ears, your nose, your fingers perceive reality to be what it actually is, that's not what matters. That's not what the point is. Reality will not change because you don't like what it is either. Okay, you can make changes that will change reality, but you can't just say, I don't like reality and expect it to change. Reality doesn't change because of your perception, and it doesn't change because of your attitude towards it necessarily. If you don't take action based on your attitude, an action that will actually change the reality, reality will not change for you. Okay? And again, when something has happened, when it's past, when it's reality past, you're not changing it by thinking something different about it. It's a very sad thing that George Floyd died. Nobody can argue that. What's the newer guy that they're talking about that the same thing is true for? I forget his name now. Dante Wright. It's very sad. It's very sad that the officer pulled a service revolver rather than the taser she intended to pull. It's extremely unfortunate. Dan Bongino, who knows this sort of thing well, and I believe he does, basically says that there's a very good chance that because what you have drilled into you is to pull the service revolver, that's probably what you're going to do. I don't know that I agree with him that the answer is to put people under stress and training and that will help. I think it can, but I think that there are lots of instances where that's not going to happen anyway. The fact is, this officer had umpteen years on the force. What did she say? Taser, 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 whatever it was, indicating that she thought she intended to pull her taser and didn't want anybody else to get, quote, electrocuted as a result of being tased and being in contact with the individual who was trying to run away, Dante Wright, who, by the way, they stopped apparently for a expired plate and then ran the plate and realized that the guy who was in the car probably had outstanding warrants for bad stuff. They didn't do it, and part of it was illegal possession of a firearm is what it sounds like. The point I'm making with all of this is simple, though. Reality doesn't change because of your perception, and reality doesn't change because of your attitude. It changes because of your actions if it's not in the past. That's the truth. That's the situation. That's the fact. Okay. Thanks again for coming in for the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I, again, am your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Sunday, the 18th of April of 2021. That means tomorrow will be Monday, the 19th of April of 2021, and obviously it will be the start of the work week for a lot of folks. Yet again, thank you for all you folks who are working on the weekend. Know that you are appreciated, even if people don't always put that out there very well. Today's subject has been reality doesn't change. And as I say, there's a sort of caveat to that I've expressed in the video in case you haven't seen the rest of the video already. Tomorrow's subject will be the subscription trap. And I want to talk about why it is that people get roped into working with people they'd really rather not work with. And there's more to it than just the subscription trap, but that is the basic concept that applies. I hope you're doing okay today. Hope you have had a good weekend so far. Let's hope that the week to come is a good one for you as well. Hopefully I will soon find myself some gainful employment in the daytime so that I can go back to work. It's a nice day today, and I've already been out and had a chance to toddle around my neighborhood a time or two. In any case, I will be doing another daily summation tomorrow, all things being equal, and hopefully we will see you then. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Sunday, April 18th of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.